reported several times, the median property tax for homeowners is spiking 16.7%, with some of the most blue-collar neighborhoods hit the hardest. So, who's to blame? Well, it depends on what public official you talk to and who they want to deflect the responsibility to. Is it the assessor who assesses values that property taxes are based on? Is it the Board of Review that revises some of those values if you hire a good attorney to argue them? Or is it simply the cost of governing going up? Chicago Tribune reporter A.D. Quigg sought to find the answer to this most elusive of questions and published her story in the paper on Monday, and she joins us now. Hey, A.D., so of those litany of public officials I mentioned, who's the most to blame for this spike?
There's no one answer. And it also depends on like what kind of bill you're looking at. I would say there's definitely shared blame here. Shared blame is the best way to put it, I think.
And I want to show a graphic that you put up in the Tribune about how much levies have gone up for nearly every government within the city of Chicago. The biggest there in blue is CPS. So what determines how much these levies are set at?
So each local governing board of all of these organizations determines what they want to raise for your levy. So in the case of Chicago Public Schools, it's the Chicago Board of Education. In the case of City of Chicago, Mayor's Office, Chicago City Council, Cook County Board. CPS does face some limitations. They have a law called PTEL that is an attempt to cap how much these rates are going up. There have been loopholes essentially to allow CPS to raise a little bit more, specifically for pensions and workers' comp and buildings and things like that. But yeah, your local board, so your local representative might be the person you need to talk to about levies. City of Chicago hasn't raised their base levy in a couple of years. Cook County Board also hasn't raised their base levy in a bit, but the overall levy has gone up because they say we do this to capture new property. So in theory, this shouldn't affect your bill. We're just adding these new folks to the rolls. But every year, the cost of government is going up, which is why you see those levies tick higher and higher.
And most of these agencies have big budget gaps that have to be solved every single year, especially CPS and the city of Chicago. Assessor Fritz Kagi, AD, blames a lot of the homeowner property tax rise on the Board of Review. So that's that other agency that if you don't like your assessment, you go argue it, and maybe they reduce it, maybe not. How much are they to blame?
Only partially, right? So, and ultimately, the market here is to blame. So both agencies base their numbers off what the market does, so how much similar properties sell for, essentially. So Kagi did raise assessments in these neighborhoods like Englewood and North Lawndale, but he says that is reflective of real estate interests in those neighborhoods. During COVID, obviously we know housing prices went up like crazy. People were looking to find more affordable neighborhoods. Some of the most affordable neighborhoods happen to be North Lawndale and Englewood. And we've also seen evidence of private investor activity in a lot of these neighborhoods, kind of expecting them to increase in value as time goes on and make some money off of their investment. So to a point, the assessor did raise assessments there, but he said the hit wouldn't have been as hard if there weren't so many successful appeals of downtown big loop properties at the Board of Review. He basically said, I set these values high. These guys got their property tax attorneys and went to the Board of Review and got those numbers knocked down. Board of Review and business interests both say, yeah, they should have been knocked down. The assessors set them too high. We are still reeling from COVID. We still got a ton of vacancies. We've seen a lot of loop properties sell for a loss compared to what they sold for several years ago. So yeah, it's right that these assessed values got knocked down. So both can be right. We won't know exactly who was completely right until later this month. The county is doing what they call a sales ratio study, which compares actual sales prices to assessed values and sees who was more right along the way and what needs to change to get those values correct. So I'm very anxious for that report to come out. It's not exactly easy to package politically what comes out of a sales ratio study. The assessor had his own troubles explaining this to a Rainbow Push audience the other weekend. He went on at length explaining the assessment process. And when the pastor running the event got back up there, he said, I didn't remember any of that. So that's kind of the biggest political problem that's going to be facing him in the months ahead as he runs for re-election, I think.
Thank God, AD, that you're so fascinated with this topic. because you can.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it so our eyes don't glaze over. But with those property tax appeals, it helps if you have deep pockets and you can afford a very good lawyer and we know some of these Loop corporate clients do have some of those deep pockets. So sounds like your answer here is there's a little bit of blame to go around to everybody. Definitely.
And I think the finger pointing is going to continue because of where we are in both the budget process. We know that aldermen are not super keen to raise property taxes, but it kind of remains in the budget discussion. It's going to keep on getting poked at by folks who say, this other person wants to raise your property taxes even more. It's going to keep on coming up as we go through the elections for assessor, for Cook County Board President, for Board of Review. So I would encourage everybody to take a step back when you hear a lot of these property tax claims and just remember that it's never one person, it's never one thing. There's a lot of different reasons why this is happening, and anyone who's trying to tell you that it's only one thing is usually trying to mislead you.
All right, A.D. Quigg, excellent work as always, and we look forward to your future studies poring over all of this data. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And earlier today, our show Chicago Live checked in with Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart. As you know, Dart's office is in the midst of transitioning the county's troubled electronic monitoring program to the purview of the Chief Judge's office. And that office in the past few months has had all kinds of trouble adapting and monitoring the program. Yesterday, new Chief Judge Charles Beach announced a committee to review, and today Dart weighed in on what he hopes that committee accomplishes and why. He says he saw these problems coming years ago.
When this person comes in front of the judge, they have a range of things that they can do with this person. So there's people that just should not be on home monitoring. And I made that point really clear. When we had the program all those years, it was for nonviolent offenders. And once again, without any consultation with us, they changed that and started putting violent people on there and said, that's not what this program's for. And they kept doing it. And then all of a sudden they said, okay, in 2 days a week, you can't watch people either. It's like, we can't keep lying to the public and tell them, oh, everything's going well here, when we know that's not going on here. So, this should not have been like this, but that's what they chose.
And so now it lies with the Chief Justice. We have a new Chief Justice. So I want to ask you a couple of things. One, what went through your mind when that situation happened on the blue line and we found out, the person was on an ankle monitor after the program had switched from your office to his. And then I'd also like to ask you about this new committee that's being formed by the new Chief Justice to look over this particular program.
Well, we told everyone on day one when we said that we cannot effectively run this program anymore. We told them, we gave, I think, like a year and a half run up. It wasn't something where we said on Monday, we're not running the program and it stops Tuesday. No. We had like a year and a half where we said, listen, we'll work with people, we'll work for a transition. We're not leaving. If you need our help, we'll be happy to help you with a range of different things. So we've said that all along. As far as the new Chief Judge, he and I have spoken. I'm real excited to work with him, and I told him it's literally a blank check. I'll help you in any way you need me to help, any way you want me to help. We are quite knowledgeable in this area, happy to give you some ideas and suggestions. As I say, I can't force people to do different things, but I can strongly advocate that this is a group of people that probably shouldn't be on home monitoring. This group here, if you're gonna put them on home monitoring, you have to have it where you're watching them all the time, not just at nighttime, but all the time. And there's gotta be real consequences like we used to have if they violate it. So I'll be happy to sit and talk on different things that we learned over the years. Most of it's common sense, to be frank with you.
And some final thoughts when we come back. Stay tuned.